So I just found out that I am accepted at NYU.
How come the stars come to shine when it's dark?
I'm going back to NYU!
Way and show us where we are. It really makes me wonder. Yeah, it makes me wonder.
Hello my friends, Darcy here. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. And as you can see from the title of this video, this is a very important video where I'm talking about the influence NYU has had on my life. So I'm gonna kind of walk through, I guess, like my experience, which was very unique, and how I feel like NYU has shaped me to be where I am today. And I never really expected me to sit down here and be like, oh my gosh, NYU changed my life, because I just had such a not fun undergrad experience that I was kind of like, oh, let's move on. And then I just had to go back to grad school to go back to NYU, and it's just like made me have a renewed appreciation for the school, and that I'm just like so grateful for the experience and the privilege of going to NYU, and just seeing the uniqueness of it, and also the platform it's given me online has gotten me to so many places I wouldn't have otherwise. So yeah, I hate contributing to the whole dream school mentality. If you've watched any of my videos in the past, you probably know this, but at the end of the day, I do feel like NYU changed my life, and I just thought I would offer my opinion and my experience of where it's worth it, where it's not, because it's definitely like, you don't have to go to NYU to be successful in New York City, to be successful in your career, to move to New York City. Like, there's so many other great schools here for that. And it has a hefty price tag, so it's definitely like not for everyone, but in my case, I'm so thankful for this experience, and I do feel like I don't know where I would be without it. So it could have been a different school, it could have been a different experience, but in my case it was NYU, and I feel like it's just been like such a foundational part of who I am now, that as I just graduated last week from my master's program, I'm sitting here today and I'm like so sad that it's over. So I knew it was time to make this video, because I just like, it's been so formative in my young adult years. So if this is the first video you're seeing from me, because I know sometimes these videos get people who aren't my regular viewers, I transferred during my undergrad from the College of William and Mary to New York University. This was mid-sophomore year in like January 2018 is when I started at NYU. And leading up to that, like my time at William and Mary, and it's not a reflection of the school itself, just my personal experience there, was just like the darkest period of my life, I would say. My mental health was in a really not good place, and I just like didn't really see that much of a way out. I was lost in what I wanted to do with my career. The only thing I was kind of interested in was like kind of moving towards journalism, but there was no program for that there. And on a whim, I decided to apply to NYU as a transfer student. That was the only school I applied to because I only had like 2 weeks till the deadline, so I just put all of my energy into that one. Everyone in my life was looking at me like I was crazy, like, what are you talking about? You've never talked about moving to New York before, or NYU. I didn't apply there in high school. Like, I didn't think I wanted an urban school at the time until this point, and so everyone was like, what are you doing? But I knew in my gut that this was the right decision for me for some reason. Like, trust your gut, guys, because it was one of the best decisions, if not the best decision I've ever made. So obviously you all know, from given what happened, I got in, I moved, and definitely life was a lot, but it was so exciting. And so just want to say, it's not like it solved all of my mental health issues or just made my life perfect. There was definitely a lot of struggle in that as well, but I immediately knew that it was the right choice for me, that I felt like a New Yorker already, and just like the way NYU is so integrated into the city, and just like the opportunities, like I felt so alive, and just like I'd made the right choice, and I was so happy to be here. However, that being said, I was really over undergrad because I had such a messed up undergrad experience. Like, being a transfer is really hard. So I felt like I missed out and just like never was able to like find that like social circle and all of that. So I decided to graduate a year early. So for my bachelor's, I spent 1.5 years at NYU and 1.5 years at William & Mary. So I never even got 2 whole years at NYU because I did summer classes and then used AP credits and stuff. So I literally took the minimum credits on campus you needed to graduate with an NYU degree in undergrad. But I was just like, I'm over it. I'm ready to go into the career world, blah, blah, blah. I was not planning on grad school at that point. Got a job. And so this is where NYU, again, coming to the rescue. NYU Career Fair is how I got my first job out of school, because it's very scary. And the NYU name, the NYU network makes a huge difference. So met someone at a career fair. A few interviews later, didn't get a job, but then I got a different job. And you know, again, I don't know where I would be. I mean, that could have happened from another school, but NYU does have a lot of power in the city, on your resume. And so from there, like, a year goes by and I'm in a different position. We're in the pandemic and I wasn't working full time, and I was just like, what am I doing? And again, on a whim, decided to apply to a master's program at NYU and only NYU, because apparently that's how I live my life. Because I was just like, I was really interested in this very specific program that NYU had, and I was also like, this is an opportunity to make up for lost time. I get 2 more years back at NYU after missing out. So I applied to this publishing program, got in after a few weeks, and also it was like a couple weeks before the deadline again. I don't know why this is a thing in my life, because that's not the type of person I usually am, but when it's a gut instinct, you just know. And everyone in my life this time around was like super supportive, was like, yeah, go to grad school, it's great, it's gonna help your career. And I feel like grad school isn't necessary for a lot of careers, so I feel like you don't need to do this. Like, I don't want you to walk away saying you need to do this, because it's definitely not necessary for a lot of careers. It's not necessary for mine either. It was just something I wanted to do for my professional development. So I actually went in thinking I was going to focus more on book publishing, but then quickly realized, like, why would I do that? I love digital media. And so I've just like really focused on digital media throughout the program, really honed a lot of my skills, and for me it's been completely worthwhile. I feel like I've developed so much and really figured out what I like and what I want to be doing in my career, that I want to focus on video, that I want to focus on digital media. Those are where my passions are, and just I feel like I got so much out of the program and met a lot of amazing people. And just, I mean, again, the NYU experience is unlike any other, and this program is unlike any other. It was definitely a very different experience from undergrad, and I personally liked the grad experience better, but that might just be because of my really botched undergrad experience. So I'm gonna make a whole separate video on that, actually, so stay tuned. But yeah, so again, I feel like NYU really helped me though, because I think it did help me get my current job, which I got the summer between my first and second year of grad school. So again, like, I just feel like the NYU brand, the experience, the school, like all these things breed opportunity in ways that maybe like other schools do for sure as well, but I think NYU is just very specific because it's like so tied with New York City, and it's just like such a big school that like there's such a network, and it's, you know, household name now. I mean, Taylor Swift was just at our graduation. Like, what more do you want? Which I'm gonna have a vlog on that too, so yeah. Anyway, that's not for this video, but yeah. And then that I found so many people on YouTube who are interested in NYU, and that's how I built my channel. So I started my channel right when I transferred and didn't really think much of it. It was just like something I wanted to do, and just, I don't know, for whatever reason, again, had this gut instinct to do it. And I found this like so interesting and so amazing niche community of people interested in transferring and or going to NYU, and it's been amazing. And I feel like it's taken me a lot of places I never expected and made me find my passion for video that now I do for my day job as well, and like see my career going into. So again, like, I don't know if I would have found that with NYU. That's, you know, a very individualized experience, but I'm so thankful for that. And again, that could have happened with something else, but you know, it just feels like NYU has shaped so much of who I am as a young adult, and that now I'm choosing to live my life as a young adult in New York City, and I feel like a New Yorker, even though technically I'm not because I'm a transplant, but I feel like I'm almost there. Like, next year, few months from now, it's going to be 5 years, so we're getting there. And I feel like at that point I can kind of sort of say I'm a New Yorker, but people elsewhere in my life call me New Yorker. And I definitely feel like in my heart that's what I am. And I think that's partly because like you're just really thrown into the center of things when you moved to NYU. It's like I was living in Union Square, which is such a hub, just like thrown right in there, and you know, the campus is just so integrated with the city that I think it has just been so amazing as a way to come into the city with like this support bubble in a way of like you're part of something, or not just like living on your own or anything. You have like this network and a reason to be there, and you have like the housing and the meal plan and like all of these things in place, and then eventually transitioning to being like more on your own, having your own place, working, you know, all of those things. Like it's just such a really good transition, I found, at least for me, and I think that's true for a lot of folks compared to like moving here after school and that kind of thing, which certainly works for many folks as well. But I found for me it worked better. That I think I would have been just so overwhelmed if I tried to do it after undergrad, because it would have been so many new things all at once. You know, your first job, your first apartment, your first all these things, and if it's your first time living in New York, it's such a learning curve. So I feel like having the safety of NYU to do that really helped prepare me to now, I mean, at my age, like have my own apartment and be able to afford New York City living on my own, and like all those things that I probably wouldn't have been able to do as quickly maybe, because I had that like cushion of learning how to do those things while still in school. And again, you can get that at lots of other schools. It's just, for me, NYU was just that. And I think because of like where it's located compared to like some of the other schools, Columbia, no, but also just like most of the schools, a lot of them are in this area, and I say that of like Washington Square, like Gramercy, Midtown, like, you know, all of my classes were between like Washington Square, and then in my master's program, some in Midtown, some in Finite. So it's just like the heart of New York City, and you're so well integrated that you feel like you just like get to know the city so well. And I know New York better than I know basically anywhere else, and I feel like such a New Yorker. So don't come for me when I say that. And certainly there are lots of issues, and I've talked about that on my channel before, so like I'm not here to over glorify. Like go watch, I have so many videos being more critical of NYU, but at the end of the day, like kind of when I left my last class, I was just like, I'm so grateful for like having NYU in my life. It's such a privilege, and I've just like learned so much, grown so much as a person throughout it. I feel like I've found myself through it in ways I never expected. Especially like, I don't know, right before I transferred, I had no idea. Like I've changed so much throughout it, and I think NYU is a big part of that, and all the things that's brought into my life. And just like moving to New York, giving me the space to be who I am and explore different avenues and different career choices, and that just the opportunities being in New York itself has, but that's so intertwined with NYU, unlike any other school, just because of like what it is and like how big it is. And yeah, I mean, it just has, you can study almost anything, and then, you know, there's just such a huge alumni network and professors, you know, all over the place, because so many of them are adjuncts working in the career field. Like, it's just unlike anything else. So I think there's a lot of people who set their expectations maybe too high when they are applying to NYU as their dream school, but because I didn't come into it as it being my dream school, it was more just like a school I really wanted to go to, that I think I can see both sides of it, but I can really appreciate like what it has come to offer me, especially as someone who did go to a very different type of school first and like saw the limitations very quickly of being in a smaller area, or like not like an urban area, smaller town, and not having a school with as many like areas to study and as wide of a network and just all of these things, which isn't to say William & Mary's a bad school by any means. It's just there are those limitations versus NYU. It kind of feels like, you know, the opportunities are endless, especially if you like make it work. Like you can almost find anything in New York City as a whole, and if you have the NYU name, you can be like, oh, I'm an NYU student XYZ, and you can get so many places with that, and it's pretty amazing. And so I'm really sad now that my time is over. Like the last 2 years of grad school went by incredibly fast, so fast, and they've been amazing, some of the best years of my life, I think, just for so many reasons. But kind of having a second chance at NYU and being able to study things I'm really passionate about, and like for school, which is wild, and just kind of having the focus be more on like career development than necessarily like academics hardcore in my program. And just that it was a lot more niche and like a smaller program has been really good. And so that's where I feel like when you think of a big school, you don't think about that, but you find communities within the bigger school. And that now I'm like really sad to leave that, I guess. It's sad to like leave the identity. Like NYU is always gonna be part of my identity, but that like now I'm no longer an NYU student, and like this part of my life, this period of my life, it's gonna be over. And I'm just so thankful to have connected with so many of you through YouTube and Instagram, and your love and passion for NYU, whether you got in or not, whether, you know, X, Y, or Z factors, like whatever it may be. Like speaking with some of you and making friends with some of you has been like such an honor and such a privilege, and I'm just so thankful for that. And you all being here, being interested in my content is what's gotten me to where I am today in my career, and just like taught me so much about like my passions, my interests, and like literally just how to edit a video and make a video and use cameras that I, you know, use all the time now and I'm so passionate about. So I get asked a lot, is NYU worth it, especially because it costs so much? And I think it really depends on the person, case by case. For me it has been, but everyone's in a different position. And I, again, don't think like going back for a master's is necessary either. Like there's just a lot of barriers to entry that are really unfortunate, I think, especially from a financial perspective, but I'm very fortunate that I have been in a position where I've been able to make it work. So for me, it has been worth it, and I think for a lot of people it is. Like I don't think there's a lot of people who say that they regret going to NYU, at least not that I've heard. I don't know, maybe just a few, but for the most part, I think people are really happy with their experience overall. It opens a lot of doors, and it's overall just like such a formative time and makes people into little New Yorkers, kind of, maybe half New Yorker transplants. So definitely check out some of my other videos, the ones that are more critical of NYU, because that's important too. There's certainly lots of issues within the school as well, and it's not a cure-all. It's definitely not a cure-all for mental health. Certainly issues with it in New York City, buying up property and all sorts of things, but at the end of the day, there's a lot of schools out there, and I'm glad that I chose NYU. Stay tuned, because I am going to talk about the differences between undergrad and grad, because very, very different experiences at NYU and in general. And also check out some of my like vlogs of like my last week of my life and graduating with Dr. Swift, all of those fun things. But thank you for being here, and I hope you'll subscribe and stay tuned for my future content as I figure out who I am without NYU, because who am I don't know. No, I'm still a New York City gal and out here living life with a career and everything, but it's been such a linchpin of my content that it does feel weird to not be having that. So there's only a few more videos coming at you about NYU, but yeah, I hope you'll stick around anyways. NYU forever. Go Violets.